Yo, get in, chop.
Yo, what's up, you guys? It's your girl, Trudy LPC, and thank you for tuning into this week's episode of the Self-Aware and Up podcast. I have a guest today that is very familiar to the Self-Aware and Up podcast family. He's been with me through season 1, season 2, and he's been with me throughout the 20 years of my life as a brother and a friend. And so I can't wait for him to share a little bit about his story today. You guys probably remember him from previous seasons. His name is Kenneth Noel Jordan, or K Noel as he goes by to other people. But he is the owner of the Relentless Motivational Group, as well as the podcast host of Relentless Conversations, as well as him being also an author, as well as a content creator, as well as also being a motivational speaker. As you guys can see, he does it all. It's kind of hard to get all of those things out right now in the moment. But without further ado, please welcome to the Self-Aware and Up podcast, Mr. K Noel Jordan. Thank you, Ken. Good to see you again. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing good. Glad to be back on here. But first of all, we finna go here. Did you just call me Kenneth?
Yes, I did.
You know, everybody like to talk about those red flags. That's a red flag. So flag on the play. But
yeah, you gonna always be Kenneth. I don't know who K Noel is. I'm sorry.
Whatever. But I'm doing good. Again, thank you for having me on for your third season now?
Season 3, we in there.
I just want you to know I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that because Lord knows we almost didn't have a season 3. Life been lifing. So yeah, but I definitely appreciate you coming back to celebrate season 3 and to impart some more wisdom into the audience. So bring them up to speed. Let them know who you are. For those that haven't listened to season 2 or season 1, tell people who you are.
Well, even those that have listened, season 1 and 2, life has took a total shift. More so now, Relentless Motivational Group. I'm still a speaker, author, podcaster, but I also have added being a social media manager, content creator. I coach people starting their podcast. I coach people and guide them with their social media platforms and stuff, trying to, help them create the content that fits them, fits their brand and stuff. So, I've taken a total shift a little bit, just a slight rebranding a little bit. But, the one thing that hasn't changed is being relentless through it all. So, yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I'm definitely excited about the new things that you are doing. I know I stay on you about taking on too much, but at the end of the day, I mean, it seems like you're really out there killing it. But as you said, like life has kind of took you through some ups and downs and you've had to shift gears. Can you talk a little bit more about those ups and downs and how you've had to shift gears and still being relentless on this part of your journey?
Man. Shift. And even what you're saying about me doing too much, I had to come to realization, and I'm working through that now, that I am taking on too much. So I'm in the process of slowly building a team now, just so that I can handle other people's stuff because I'm a visionary. So with that coaching comes once you tell me your vision, I help you map it out. But now I'm learning I can't take all of this on by myself. Gotcha. Because, that's one way life has been beating me down, because I've become so tired to the point that I'm not able to mentally fight. I don't have the strength to fight certain things. So I'm learning now the importance, most importantly, the importance of rest.
Yeah.
So I'm learning that, I have to have that rest. I have to be more present, and while I'm being there showing up for everybody else, I got to show up for me.
Mm.
So, yeah, I'm learning in that, journey that the rest it's a necessity. And I got to show up for me. That's one thing my therapist has been walking me through is a matter of showing up for myself, because growing up, I've always been that way. I'm always there for anybody else at the drop of a dime. You tell me you need me, I'm there. It's like, what's up? Who we riding on? I tell you that now. Who we riding on? What's up?
What? Seriously? We going there?
Well, I'll just say it. But now I got to learn to be that for K Noel. I got to learn to be there like, what's up, bro? Who are we riding on now? I got to learn to be that for me. I got to learn to be there for my brand, because I've been showing up for everybody else's stuff that I've been silent on my platforms.
Yeah.
So now you're seeing me coming back with my podcast. I think it's been down for a year and a half now?
About 2 years. Your math ain't mathing.
Well, we ain't counting. So, but I miss it because that was a part of me.
Yeah.
And though life is taking me here, I can't forget about my purpose, because I'm learning now there's a difference between what you're purposed to do and what you're gifted to do. I'm gifted with, being able to help people with their content creation and stuff like that. That's a gift. That's a gift for me. But my purpose is speaking. My purpose is writing these books. Yeah. So you're going to get that back from me. I'm still working out some kinks and stuff with my podcast, but I promise you, I'm coming back stronger and I'm coming back harder.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So I'm leaving nothing behind right now. So it's like one of those, if you want to come with it, come get it, because we're going to make it do what it do.
Okay. Don't sound like fighting words, but we're gonna ride with it. But I know you kind of speak a lot and about waving through the storms and kind of still having to push yourself, even though life can really break you. There are moments in life that are really difficult to go through. I know that my biggest thing recently has been navigating through the loss of my dad and really trying to process through what does life look like, and still having to force myself to keep going. And I know that is difficult for me, but I know you also kind of can relate, and that resonates with you because you were on a hiatus for a period of time. How did you navigate from I got to take this pause, this period of rest to rejuvenate myself? How did you navigate through that while also dealing with challenges in your life?
Man, it wasn't an easy task. And it felt comfortable being in that place of wanting to quit, wanting to give up. I've learned you can be comfortable right there. But I had to do an assessment. And there was also this hunger in me that missed what I was doing. And it was like, how can I get back there? Because even my therapist told me, she was like, when you talk about doing the stuff that you do for yourself, you light up. It's like it's a different energy. And then, that made me think about some things. And I was like, let me do an assessment here. And what can I do to get back to this place? Because I did miss it. And it was like I did a interview one time, and it was a live interview. And that brought so much life to me. And it was like, okay, I really got to get back here because this is a missing part of me, because this is who I am. Yeah. And I'm learning a lot of times when we're not walking in our purpose, we feel like there's something missing in us. Sometimes it drifts us into depression. Sometimes it takes us afar off. So in doing that assessment, okay, what steps can I do to get back here? What was the first step that I had to do? I first had to find people that's going to hold me accountable. So if I'm not doing something that I'm not that I should be doing, even when it came to the podcast, and I had certain people who will remain unnamed asking me when were they going to be on my podcast again, and I keep telling them it's coming. That was accountability for me. I appreciate you, by the way.
You're welcome. You are definitely welcome.
But that was the push that I needed, because a lot of times, people don't like to be pushed. And I get it, because it makes you feel uncomfortable. Again, I had got comfortable in that place where I was at behind the scenes. But if I was being real with myself, me being behind the scenes was really me being in a place of quitting.
Yeah.
So I had to take those steps, even if it was just one step a day. So, I started, the first thing was the declaration. This is what I'm about to do.
Okay.
The second step, I went ahead and made my intro, put it out there, started getting a lot of reactions. The second step, now I started lining up the interviews. So, now I'm really out there now.
Yeah.
So, I started structuring. I just started doing it bit by bit. I didn't put a lot of pressure on myself, though I know it needed to get done, because I've always been that one to push myself harder than even that I needed to. And I'm learning I don't have to do that. I don't have to put out, because sometimes you can put so much pressure on yourself that you're putting pressure on yourself and pushing yourself down. And I was drowning because of the pressure that I was putting on myself, having to do stuff. And it was just one of those relax. Yeah. It's like, man, I had to look at myself and tell myself, man, relax. It's going to be okay. You don't have to put all this pressure on yourself. Just do what you can. Don't focus on what the stuff that you missed or something like that. Do exactly what you can in the moment. Take advantage of the moment and do the stuff that you can do. If you can't finish something for today, it's always tomorrow. Stop putting this pressure on yourself to try to do everything at one time.
Okay. So I'm gonna play devil's advocate here, because I know, you and we talk pretty regularly, and every time I call you, what are you doing?
I said I'm a work in progress.
Okay.
and that's why I'm trying to build a team now. Because I realize I'm just one person. I can't do it all. And I was trying to take on the whole world by myself. And it goes back to a scripture. One can chase 1,000, two can put 10,000 to flight. So I can cover more ground with having somebody on the team.
Yeah.
So, that's a work in progress right now. Now I'm trying to slowly build all of that to come together so that I can free this up here too.
Yeah.
And that will also free me to get more rest, because when I get more rest, now that creativity can start back rolling again, instead of me just, on cruise control.
Yeah. And cruise control is, there are benefits to it, but there are definitely a lot of more drawbacks to it, because sometimes I feel like when you're just cruising, you're not really present. Like, I feel like, when you're driving in a car and you drive the same path every day, you get into that place of just kind of, you can drive from point A to point B and not even know how you got there. Yeah. But when you take that time to really focus in on seeing what's around you, bringing yourself back to the present, I think that a lot of times we are a lot more effective, because we're not just riding the wave. Like you said, now you're at a place where you're kind of being more intentional and navigating through it. But I also heard you say that you have been in therapy. You have been kind of using that process. What's it been like for you as a Black man going into a setting that a lot of times our people don't go to, because they feel like it's taboo for a man to go get help or a man to go and seek therapy?
It's been free. That's the one simple word, free. Because it's freed me from a lot of the stuff that I was locked up in that I didn't realize I was locked up in. Because, and that's why some people, they feel like they don't need it, because they don't realize that they're a slave to a pattern, that they're a slave to a mindset. So having that therapist, it has freed me from so much of stuff that I would beat myself up about, things that the cages that I was in. that I didn't realize I was in, the things that I needed to change about myself. I'm learning more, and it's a day-to-day process, but I'm learning more to love on me. I'm learning to be aware about me. You know, I said it at the beginning of the episode that I'm learning to be there for me. I got to show up for me first, because I can't show up for you or anybody else if I'm not first showing up for me, because I've always been the type that you can mess with anybody, you can mess with me, but don't mess with anybody else around me. So now I'm having to change that mindset that don't mess with me and don't mess with anybody else around me, but don't mess with me first, because first of all, you mess with me, it's all hell's gonna break loose anyway. but but don't now I'm being that person for me.
Yeah.
So now when I'm being attacked, you know, now I'm breaking all hell for myself.
Gotcha. Yeah. So your therapist kind of really taught you how to show up for you and to prioritize yourself. And I know that that's something a lot of people struggle with, because if you're someone who is always pouring into other people and always been the person that's been there for other people to your own detriment at times, then a lot of people struggle with not seeing taking care of themselves and engaging in self-care as selfish. Did you struggle at all with like coming to that place of like, oh, it's okay for me to take care of myself and it's not selfish? Because that's the number one thing I hear from clients, is that they feel like, oh, it's selfish for me to look after myself.
Yeah. And I won't sit here and act like I got that down pat. But what I can say is now I'm more aware to it.
Yeah.
So now that she has made me more aware to it, now I can see it and like, okay, I need to fix this. Because, and that was the key thing about therapy for me, is the awareness. Now that I'm aware of something is something that's wrong, now I realize that I need to fix it.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a traveling journey where I realize, you know, okay, this isn't right. So let me fix this here. How can I fix this thing right here? Okay, so I need to make this adjustment right here because this ain't going to keep happening. Okay, I need to address this issue right here because you're not going to keep doing this to me. I'm showing up for me now.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So it was a bit of a struggle at first, but you're now getting a little bit more comfortable. I know that for a lot of people, I tend to be a little bit different, because I think that somewhere in my 20s, I just got to that place of, nah, fuck that. I'm not about to do anything that I don't want to do. And I'm only going to show up when it's something that I feel like I want to be a part of or I want to be connected to. But I know I'm looked at as very selfish by a lot of people in my life, because they see my self-care as not caring for them. And I think that the reason that I used to struggle with it was because I was guilt tripped into having to take care of other people. And then I realized that's not my responsibility. It's not my responsibility to take care of anyone except for myself. And if I choose to, then that's great. I'm doing it from a place of desire, not obligation. Do you feel that sometimes like you felt tied to things out of a place of like being obligated to do it? Or was it just, you just felt like that was your role to show up for others?
It was my role.
Okay.
Because it was a part of who I was and who I am. And that's changing now.
Who gave you that role though? Like, how did you become the person that had to take care of everybody?
I kind of adapted it. Yeah, it was a mindset, you know, from the streets. You know, people had beef. You know, they would call me, and then the problem was their beef eventually turned into mine.
Yeah.
So you know, it was people I probably never had beef with, and then because they messing with my people, and I'm gonna stand by my people, then that beef turned into my beef, and it's like, well, here we are.
Gotcha. So you just was out there taking on people's problems to the degree that it you ended up having issues with people that really weren't even your battles to fight, but you chose to fight them because you decided that this is the role that I want to take on. And I think your situation is a little bit different from a lot of people's stories because a lot of people are given that role. Like their parents gave them a role. It's your job to take care of your siblings. No, it's not your job to take care of your siblings. It is your parents' job to take care of their kids that they had. But a lot of people develop that role from like childhood. And then next thing you know, they're 40, 50 years old and they're still taking care of everybody and they have no room to take care of themselves. So you kind of on your own because you chose that role, whereas other people are given that role and they never learn to redefine that role. But it is good that you are redefining that role for yourself.
Yeah. And again, you know, it goes back to therapy. That's why I say therapy is so important. Because, and you know, I hear people say, you know, I just internalize it, you know, I just bury it. And literally had this conversation yesterday, you know, I was telling them, you know, that's still not good. Because though we're burying stuff, you bury a seed in the ground, what happens?
It's gonna grow up. It's coming out.
And what we don't realize, that very thing that we buried is still happening. And because we buried it and it's stuff like that is still happening, all that is happening now, what you buried and what is continually still happening, we're pouring water on it now. So now what's going to happen? It has grown up into a tree in our life.
Yeah.
It went from a small thing to a big thing that is now affecting how we operate in our life. So, you know, then you'll find yourself having trust issues. Then you're finding yourself having issues with being committed to things because of pain, past hurt. And because we let it go unaddressed, now that it's grown into such a big thing. And it's like, how did I get here? So now your therapist is going to help you backtrack it and find out first of all, where's the root of it? So now let's get to this root and and it's going to take a little bit more work now because now it went from a seed to a small plant to now it's a tree.
Yeah.
So it's going to take a little bit of work and we have to be patient and trust the process and go through the process so that we can unravel this thing and reverse engineer it and create a new version of you without this tree in your life.
Yeah.
Because it's now a new day for you.
Yeah. I mean, all I hear is tree, and tree. So I'm like, what is this? But you could have used another type of plant or something. I'm like, yeah, ain't nothing wrong with a tree growing up, but no.
Well, I ain't think about it.
I'm like, but no, I feel you though. Like, I mean, whatever you plan is going to come back up. Like, and you're right. As a therapist, we definitely always want to get to the root of it, which is why I asked, like, hey, you know, where did you get this role? How did you take on this role? Because the root of it is always what is going to help us understand it and uncover a deeper understanding that the client or the person just did not understand or even make the connection. And so, you know, I love that you enjoy therapy because, I mean, I remember back in the day, you definitely wasn't trying to go see nobody.
Not one bit. Well, because growing up, I had a bad experience with that.
Yeah, I know.
And that was my plant. That was my seed.
Yep.
So I had to face it.
Yeah. And I definitely love that you faced it and that it has been so helpful, you know, because I talk about this all the time. Like, you know, your bad experience with a therapist, it only takes one to turn somebody off from it. But it's important for clients to know, like, and, you know, anyone that's listening, it's important to know that you don't have to settle for the first therapist that you meet. It's okay to shop around and it's okay to find a therapist that is a good fit for you, because I can tell you not every client is for me and I'm not for every client. And that's okay. And I think that the client needs to know that it's a two-way street. You don't have to connect with someone that you don't feel, you know, you can truly be yourself with.
Yeah. You know, that is one of the key things that you taught me. And now when I'm talking to other brothers, encouraging them to go to therapy, I give that same script to them, letting them know it's just like a relationship.
Yeah.
They may not be a fit for you, but keep trying because sometimes people will try one time and get discouraged and feel like, well, maybe it's just not meant to be. And that's my biggest pet peeve, that just because something don't work out, they feel like it's not meant to be. So you got to ditch that mindset and realize, just like it says, you got to keep searching until you find that one who can work with you and unlock the code. So now that we can open up and start dealing with the issues.
Yeah, definitely have to deal with the issue. And I'm glad that you share that script with people, since you want to frame it like that. And it's just real. Like it took me a long time to find the right therapist, and we've been riding for at this point 5-6 years together or whatever, just maintenance at this point, because life be lifing. But at the end of the day, it's like I don't think I would have sat with anybody else for this long a period of time, because it's just the connection. And it's, this person has seen me through so many stages of my life, even in 5 years. So it's a bit much. But when you're talking about like getting to the root of your issues, unlocking the code and really diving in there, since we own the topic of issues, I want to go ahead and just kind of dive in and ask you the question of the day, which is, how do you personally connect with the idea of being self-aware and fucked up?
Man, it's not easy. Let me first say that. Matter of fact, I was talking to my coworker, and that's one conversation we always have. Being called out on something is never easy, but it's necessary. Nobody wants to admit that, you know what, I'm really messed up. But in order for you to get across the bridge, you have to realize that, I'm really messed up. I'm damaged. I'm broken. But let me cross this bridge to get the help that I need. So, again, it's never, certain parts of me, it's not easy. And I think for me, the hardest part is stuff that they're good traits, but they're bad traits. Like me showing up for everybody. It's a good trait, but it's a bad trait. And I think that's something we never look at, because me showing up for everybody else, I'm not showing up for me. So, that's a bridge I had to cross, and it's still a struggle sometimes. So, and it goes back to, now that I'm aware of something, now I have to see where I can make these adjustments. What's in me that's making me tick this way? So now, and sometimes I have to get help from my therapist to help me unravel it a little bit. And sometimes, she just helped me with a little bit of it, because I'm the type, all I need is a little bit and I can take it and run with. So sometimes it's just a little bit that I need, and then I can take it and unravel the knots in the shoestring.
Yeah.
So, and so that's how I come to the realization, if it is, again, it's never easy. And I need everyone listening and watching to understand that it's okay. It's okay to be called out on your mess. We don't like being called out, but it's necessary to be called out, because if I'm not called out, how can I become better?
Right.
And, we have to, first of all, we have to get comfortable allowing people to tell us that. And we have to also get comfortable being able to tell people. And I'm not saying it has to be in an ugly way. You also have to be conscious of how you're presenting it. So, you sometimes you may have to use, what is it that they do to numb the pain when you're going through surgery?
I don't know, anesthesia.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to use the anesthesia to, kind of numb it a little bit and give the approach. I'm learning my approaches a little bit differently now. So, and what we call in the business world is soft skills. You got to learn how to use those soft skills. You got to know when it's needed and when it's necessary. Now, and you also have to know the person, because some people, they prefer for you to tell them, man, just tell me straight up. Because I'm that type of person. Just tell me straight up. Don't try to sugarcoat it for me. If you need to punch me in the gut with it, just punch me in the gut. So it's based on, knowing the person and knowing how to deliver it to them, because everybody can't take it the same way I take it. That's one thing I had to learn. Everybody doesn't think like me. And because they don't think like me, the approach to them is going to be different compared to how the approach is for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. We all have to kind of navigate through things from a place of how to approach it in a way that is going to provide the best possible outcome for us, first and foremost, for yourself, but also, the hope is that it is something that the other person can receive. I know that I, as a leader in my organization that I work for, I have to do this whole sandwich method thing when I'm kind of giving feedback. And when everybody knows I'm very much a direct this, that, or the other type person or whatever. So I find that I have to do it or whatever. But as you know, personally, you're just going to get that gut punch, because I'm not, I don't have to make it cute in my personal life or whatever. I'm a Sagittarius. I'm always just shoot straight from the hip. But I think that that's a struggle for a lot of people, to be that honest and direct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I at one point struggled with the sandwich method. Or if someone always needed at work, let me say at work, someone always needed the reassurance or something, and the pat on the back and stuff like that. I used to struggle with that because let's just hit it straight for how it is.
Yeah. But
I'm learning that sometimes people are in your life for a reason. And my former assistant director, she was in my life for that reason, because I had to learn how to use those soft approaches. Some of her methods I didn't agree with, but it helped me to establish some tools, some necessary tools that I needed in my life.
Yeah.
So, now I know how to do that. I always known how to use the sandwich method, but now I've gotten better at it. Now you might get some lettuce and tomatoes on that mug now. So, yeah.
No, I feel you. Listen, I had somebody say they wanted me to give them the pizza method, and I'm far better with that. I'm just give it to you straight and keep it moving. But Kenneth, I definitely know you don't like me calling you Kenneth, so I'm going to keep calling you Kenneth as we get ready to kind of move forward. But how can the people connect with you? How can people, just listen to your podcast, connect with any type of services that you have in terms of content creation or all of the above, speaking, all of that good stuff?
You can find me on my website, relentlessmotivationalgroup.com. You can find my podcast website, relentlessconversations.com. On all social media, including TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Noel Motivates. I'll be coming I've been wrestling with this, but I think I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to come with the podcast page soon on social media. So I'm sure nobody has it. So it'll be at Relentless Conversations. I may put it on Instagram and TikTok starting off. So we'll see how that goes. So hopefully by the time this episode drops, it'll be existing. So y'all make sure y'all go follow it, show it some love. I'll also have a texting community by the time this episode drops as well. So you'll have that information to put in the show notes. So we're going to get this thing rolling. I'm telling y'all, I'm coming hard this season. So y'all just be ready for Relentless Conversations. The intro is fire. I'm telling y'all, I'm leaving no breadcrumbs this season. So yeah, I'm really excited.
Awesome, awesome. Well, Kenneth, I appreciate your time. Excuse me, K Noel. I appreciate your time. Thank you, guys. Please make sure that you check the show notes so that you are able to connect with K Noel and connect with his podcast, listen to it, and support him. Also, make sure that you guys follow me, Treaty LPC, on all social media platforms under the handle Treaty LPC. I've been promoting it all season long, so this episode will be no different. Make sure you guys go and check out the Minding My Own Mental Health Self-Care Journal. It is available on Amazon, as well as my uniquedestiny.org website /shop. The information for that will also be in the description of this episode. Until next time, be safe, be well, and make sure that you take care of your mental health.